All right, so we got the 1108 spoilers, and this arc is definitely coming close to an end. Like, this might be the penultimate chapter of the arc, possibly, because a lot is happening. We're actually seeing Saturn transform again, so that's pretty exciting, and we'll get into it. Luffy is also continuing to fight against him and Kizaru. That's exciting as well. So let's go over the previous chapter real quick. Speaking of Luffy, he showed up to save Bonnie and Vegapunk from Saturn by hitting him with a Dawn Gatling, crazy named move, and sent him flying. Also, we saw Sanji protecting Bonnie from Kizaru by deflecting his light beam with a kick. Then, at the end of the chapter, we saw Van Augur and Katarina Devon of the Blackbeard Pirates finally show up to the island, and they were actually able to touch Saturn after he was punched by Luffy. This means that Katarina Devon now has the ability to copy his appearance with her Ninetales Fox Mythical Zoan Devil Fruit. Then, with Van Augur's Devil Fruit, they were able to warp away from Saturn, but they wound up running into Caribou, who requested to join their crew, and that's where the chapter ended. So coming into this one, Caribou reveals that he possesses valuable information, intending to share it with Teach. So yeah, this is immediately what we speculated about in the previous chapter. We assumed that Caribou was going to give this to the Blackbeard Pirates because this is like Caribou's most valuable asset, aside from having the Swamp Logia, which is a pretty good devil fruit, but he's kind of inept regardless. But the information that he has that is valuable is, of course, him knowing the location of two ancient weapons. He's been with the Straw Hats for the majority of the time skip. He's been with them throughout the different islands they've been to, meaning Fishman Island and Wano. On Fishman Island, he found out that Shirahoshi herself was the ancient weapon Poseidon, the ability to control the Sea Kings. And then, most recently in Wano, he found out that Wano was actually holding Pluton underneath it. Pluton, the big ancient warship that's capable of destroying whole islands. Like, if you bring down the borders of Wano, then you'll be able to unleash Pluton from underneath it. So now he is going to give this information to them. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this means that the Blackbeard Pirates will eventually come into possession of Pluton, which would just be incredible. Dory and Bragi come to the rescue of Frankie and his group, saving them from the clutches of the Marines. So yeah, Dory and Bragi, we've known that they have been here. They showed up with the giant pirates to come for Luffy. They still haven't really talked to him yet, but we'll eventually get to that because it has something to do with him being the sun god and then bringing him to Elbaf because the sun god probably originated there. Maybe, possibly, not really sure yet. Or, Joy Boy, who was maybe the original sun god Nika fruit holder, had a very tight, close alliance with the giants, or was a giant himself. And speaking of Frankie, the last time we saw him in the previous chapter, he was flying with Bonnie on his back, along with Atlas, who had Kuma on her back. He was like, let's go to the northeast shore. So I guess on their way there, they ran into some Marines, and Dory and Bragi intervened and they helped them out. Like I said, getting closer to this arc ending for sure. Vegapunk urges Luffy and Sanji to escape without him, entrusting them with the protection of Bonnie. So yeah, we also saw that Saturn stabbed Vegapunk through the back, and after that, he was basically telling them that he was going to die. Like, he said don't even move him, because if they moved him, then that would for sure kill him. So he just wanted them to leave him. And he's further saying that here, just saying, hey, take Bonnie, I'm gonna die, it'll be all right. And, we'll get more into if Vegapunk is going to die or not, because he's going to be talked about more in these spoilers. Meanwhile, Saturn unveils a new form and launches an attack on Luffy, Sanji, and Vegapunk. So this is really exciting. Saturn, he's back in the fray. Like we talked about, he got whooped by Luffy in the previous chapter, getting hit with that Dawn Gatling, getting sent across the island, wound up, meeting the Blackbeard Pirates, but he didn't really seem too fazed by it, to be honest. So he's back here transforming again. And what could this new form be? I'm assuming that we've been seeing his hybrid form this whole time, right? Of the Zoans, that they have the animal form, and they have the form that's in between an animal and a human, which we call the hybrid form. And typically the hybrid form is usually the best or the strongest, but I guess that's not always the case, especially if you have a really extremely variable fruit, and I assume that Saturn does as well. It's probably similar to Kaido's, since Kaido also had a mythical Zoan, the Seiryu model of the fish fruit. And I'm assuming that he becomes just whatever his standard form is. You know how like Kaido became like the blue dragon? Whatever Saturn's devil fruit is, like some spider thing like we've been talking about, it's probably based off of a Japanese yokai, the Ushioni, which is like a spider with like a bull's head kind of. He might just become that. And then, I don't know, that allows him to be better at attacking in this specific situation because he's going at Luffy and Sanji and Vegapunk. Because, in the previous chapter, after Luffy had knocked Saturn away, Luffy and Sanji just started staring down Kizaru. And it, definitely wasn't looking good for him. But Saturn back to the rescue here. And while Saturn is attacking them, Kizaru inflicts severe injuries on Vegapunk during the confrontation. So yeah, Kizaru, once again, being a cog in the wheel, showing Master Saturn that he is a good soldier and still trying to kill Vegapunk as per his orders. Like we also talked about, Vegapunk already got stabbed by Saturn through the back, so he's getting hurt again here. Like, if Vegapunk doesn't die, this is like so unnecessary, Oda. In a decisive moment, Luffy intervenes, stopping both Saturn and Kizaru simultaneously to allow Sanji and Vegapunk to make their escape. So, not really sure what Luffy is doing here. I don't know, maybe another Dawn Gatling or just some kind of crazy attack because he's stopping both Saturn and Kizaru, which is wild. I mean, we know that he is pretty much stronger than both of them at this point, as he has had individual moments in this arc where he's wrecked them both, but both at the same time, that's pretty wild. I mean, it's kind of ambiguous just stopping them both. Does it mean that he's just launching both of them with attacks, or is he just preventing them from moving forward or whatever? Because, allowing Sanji and Vegapunk to make their escape. And it also goes to the other Straw Hats that are escaping at this point. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next chapter or the chapter after that, they are finally going to leave Egghead. Like, I do see them just getting the Thousand Sunny to go on the giant warrior pirate ship because it is massive. It could easily hold the Sunny. It can hold like multiple Sunnies for sure. The chapter concludes with a message from Vegapunk addressed to the world. So this is a pretty cool contingency from Vegapunk, and we actually got another spoiler from Pew Piece here, telling us what he is saying or what the implications of it are. And it says Vegapunk's final message to the world will be the truth of this world. So I'm assuming that's the Void Century, and I don't know if he's going to send out like some kind of dossier giving you all of the history, because it seems, even if we're at 1108 chapters, it still seems a little too soon for that. So I'm assuming that he is just going to say that, like, I don't know, somebody sits on the empty throne, or maybe something about Emu possibly, or maybe something about the Gorosei, but I just doubt he's going to give like in-depth knowledge about the Void Century and what happened at that point, although he could. It's even possible that Oda just might not reveal what he even says, and we're just gonna keep seeing like reactions from people like saying, oh my god, and then we just don't hear it until like 200 chapters later, but also Vegapunk's still alive. We talked about this multiple times. Maybe he's gonna die. I think it would be fitting if he died, because there's already these other Vegapunks that exist. Also, Punk Records technically has his brain in it, so we'll see what happens. But if you liked it, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.